Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, where hidden treasures, pocket change surprises and rare American coins come to life. Today we're diving into a coin that millions of people have seen, spent, tossed into jars and never thought twice about, the United States Jefferson nickel from 1974. You might think it's just another everyday coin, but what if I told you that one of these tiny 5-cent pieces could be worth more than some luxury cars, premium watches or even a small house? Stay with me all the way through, because by the end of this video you might be searching through every nickel you've ever owned. Let's start by stepping back into the world of 1974. The United States was going through a time of economic shifts, inflation was climbing and everyday items were changing in cost and value. Amid all this, millions of Jefferson nickels rolled out of the mints as simple 5-cent coins used for everything from school lunches to gas station snacks. The coin features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side, designed by Felix Schlag, a design that had already been in circulation since 1938. Above his head, the words, "In God We Trust," are engraved, with the word "Liberty" and the date 1974 appearing to the right. On the reverse side sits his iconic home, Monticello, with the inscriptions, E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. These coins were struck at multiple mints, including Philadelphia and Denver, and though they were made for everyday spending, time has a funny way of turning ordinary objects into prized possessions. The key to turning a 1974 Jefferson nickel into a true treasure lies in details that most people would completely overlook. Condition is the first factor. Any coin that has spent years in circulation will show scratches, discoloration, nicks and signs of handling. But a coin that has been preserved in near mint or fully uncirculated condition has a dramatically higher chance of being considered valuable by collectors. Sharp strike details, strong luster and clean, untouched surfaces make all the difference. Then there are the less obvious features that make certain coins stand out, things like full steps on Monticello. If you look closely at the steps on Jefferson's home on the reverse, most circulated coins show them worn smooth or poorly struck. But a coin with full, crisp steps that are fully visible can fetch far more interest and money. Collectors prize what they call full steps or FS nickels because striking quality was inconsistent, and a perfectly struck example is rare. Add in errors or minting quirks, and the appeal jumps even higher. Some of these errors include off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, filled mint marks or planchet imperfections. These coins were not intentionally created, but when something goes wrong during minting, it can turn a regular 5-cent coin into a collector's masterpiece. There are also differences depending on whether the nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint or the Denver Mint. Coins from the Denver Mint carry a tiny D mint mark, while Philadelphia coins from that era usually have no mint mark at all. Some coins struck with better dies or higher quality strikes ended up becoming standouts even when no one realized it at first. Fast forward 50 years and collectors now chase down the best surviving examples with fierce determination. Think about the millions of nickels that exchanged hands in the 1970s, riding around in pockets and purses, sliding across vending machines, rolling around in jars, drawers and old cups. Over time, coins got scratched, worn down, lost, or melted. That's why finding a Jefferson nickel from 1974 that still has its original shine and nearly perfect detail is like discovering a time capsule. People sometimes stumble upon them in inherited coin collections, safe deposit boxes or boxes of old coins forgotten in closets. These finds can completely change someone's appreciation for pocket change. Collectors today look for coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, and high-grade examples can command serious prices at auctions. But the record-breaking values often come from a combination of factors: condition, rarity of strike detail, minting mistakes, and eye appeal. Some coins slip through the cracks and end up being far rarer than initially expected simply because so few people kept them in good condition at the time. Imagine you had a 1974 nickel tucked away for decades without even knowing what it could be worth. Maybe it's in a jar of old coins your parents or grandparents saved. Maybe it's still sitting in a drawer, untouched. That one little coin could pay for a vacation, a home improvement project, a new vehicle, or even cover months or years of expenses. And all the while it was sitting there, hiding in plain sight. So before you dismiss those old nickels hiding in your coin stash, pay attention to the details. Look closely at the Monticello steps, examine the shine and surfaces, check for errors, and compare the strike quality. What may look like a normal nickel could be exactly the kind of coin that collectors are willing to pay a fortune for. And now, the part you've been waiting for. There have been examples of the 1974 Jefferson nickel in extraordinary uncirculated condition with ideal characteristics that have sold for as much as $73,000. Today we're taking a close look at a coin many people have handled countless times without ever realizing its true potential, the Jefferson nickel from 1984. It may look like any other 5-cent coin you've seen in your life, but some rare variations and preserved examples of this coin have stunned collectors and investors across the country. By the time you finish this video, you might be digging through drawers, jars and collections in search of one that could change your financial story. To understand why the 1984 Jefferson nickel has captured the attention of coin enthusiasts, it helps to look at the era it came from. The mid-1980s were a period of economic shifts, technological advances, and cultural change in the United States. Inflation and market adjustments affected everything from gasoline prices to grocery bills. During that time, the U.S. Mint continued producing the classic Jefferson nickel design that had been in circulation since 1938, featuring one of the nation's founding fathers and the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. On the obverse, or front side of the 1984 nickel, you see Jefferson's left-facing portrait. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date appear around his profile in the traditional format familiar to anyone who has held American currency. Turn the coin over and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, with the inscriptions, E pluribus unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. Although the design is the same one used for decades, small differences in strike quality, mint location, and preservation separate the valuable coins from the common ones. Millions of Jefferson nickels were produced in 1984 at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and most of them entered circulation immediately. They were spent at arcades, diners, movie theaters, convenience stores, payphones, and vending machines. People dropped them into change purses, pockets, ashtrays, and piggy banks. As time passed, most of these coins picked up scratches, lost their shine, and suffered wear across the high points of the design, especially Jefferson's cheek and hair, as well as the fine lines of Monticello. That's why collectors today are interested not in just any 1984 nickel but in coins with extraordinary preservation. A coin that was never circulated, never handled roughly, and still shows its original mint luster can stand out in a major way. Coins with sharp strikes, clean surfaces, and no signs of wear attract premium attention. But condition alone isn't the only factor that can boost value dramatically. One key feature that sets some Jefferson nickels apart is the clarity of the steps on the Monticello building on the reverse side. Collectors use the term full steps to describe coins where the steps are completely visible and well-defined. Striking a coin with full detail in that area was not always consistent, so nickels that show complete, distinct steps are far rarer than those with faint or flattened detail. If a 1984 nickel has full steps, it can dramatically increase in value. Then there are minting anomalies, what many people call error coins. These can happen when the dies used to strike the coins are misaligned, doubled or cracked, or when the blank metal planchet is flawed. Some errors include double die strikes, off-center images, die breaks, or filled mint mark areas. These unexpected irregularities make the coin unique and highly desirable in the eyes of collectors who chase rarity, not just age. It's also important to consider that most people never set aside their 1984 nickels. Because they were modern coins meant for circulation, few individuals thought to store them away in protective holders or preservation capsules. That means the number of coins in top grades, especially those certified by third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC, is extremely limited compared to how many were produced. That scarcity is what turns an everyday coin into a potential jackpot. Imagine searching through an old coin jar passed down from parents or grandparents, or going through coin rolls from the bank, and suddenly you spot a flawless Jefferson nickel from 1984 with sharp detail and minimal marks. It may not look flashy at first glance, but in the world of qualified collectors and specialized auctions, hidden gems like this have the power to impress and command serious money. These coins have been found in safes, inherited boxes, estate collections, and even among change forgotten in closets for years. Someone out there may have unknowingly been holding onto something incredibly special. And that possibility keeps the excitement alive for collectors, hobbyists, and treasure hunters who know just how unpredictable the coin world can be. The true charm of the 1984 Jefferson nickel is that it bridges the gap between the familiar and the extraordinary. It's a coin everyone has likely seen, but only a few have ever held one in exceptional condition with the traits that make it stand out. Quality, rarity, strike detail, preservation, and error characteristics all influence its value. And when you find a coin that checks multiple boxes, especially full steps and flawless condition, it becomes part of a completely different category in the market. So before you dismiss the coins you've been collecting or the change you think is worthless, remember that even common denominations can hide staggering surprises. And now comes the part that most viewers wait for: the top recorded examples of a 1984 Jefferson nickel in outstanding condition, with superb detail and collector appeal, have sold for as much as $68,000. Today we're focusing on a coin that most people have seen, spent, or ignored without realizing the hidden potential it holds: the Jefferson nickel from the year 1986. At a glance it looks like any other 5-cent coin, but when you know what to look for, this coin can surprise even experienced collectors and turn regular hobbyists into lucky discoverers. Let's take a step back and imagine the year 1986 in the United States. The country was full of cultural energy, economic movement, and new technologies. People were listening to music on cassette players, renting movies on VHS, and heading to arcades with pockets full of change. Restaurants, soda machines, and gas stations were constantly taking in and giving out coins like the 1986 Jefferson nickel, completely unaware that a few rare examples would later become incredibly valuable. The design of the 1986 Jefferson nickel follows the long-standing tradition that began in 1938. On the front is the profile of Thomas Jefferson facing left, the words "In God We Trust" positioned along the left side, along with the word liberty and the year placed to the right. This design is familiar and subtle, which makes it all the more surprising when certain rare versions of these coins end up being worth far beyond their face value. On the reverse, the Monticello building, Jefferson's historic home, is centered with the inscriptions E pluribus unum above and 5 cents and United States of America underneath. Simple, classic, and iconic, millions of nickels were minted in 1986 across the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Most of these coins went directly into circulation. They were spent at movie theaters, parking meters, convenience stores, and diners. They sat in change jars, were carried in pockets, and got jumbled in cash drawers across the country. Time, friction, and handling eventually stripped away that original shine and dulled the finer details, but when you remove the worn and heavily used coins from the equation, a tiny fraction remain in nearly flawless condition. These are the ones collectors dream about, the nickels that were pulled from circulation early or never circulated at all. A coin with smooth surfaces, sharp edges, and its original mint luster is the type that can draw serious attention. But condition alone doesn't tell the whole story. Collectors pay special attention to the strike quality, especially on the reverse where Monticello appears. The steps leading up to the building are one of the most important features. Coins showing full, clearly defined steps, what collectors call full steps or FS, are significantly harder to find. Why? Because striking a nickel with complete detail across that part of the design wasn't always easy, and many coins came out with blurred, weak, or partially missing steps. If a 1986 nickel has perfect or near-perfect steps, that instantly places it in a more elite category. Another piece of the puzzle lies in minting errors and die varieties. As coins are struck in enormous quantities, the machinery used can develop imperfections or slip out of alignment. This leads to coins with unwanted and unexpected variations. Some of the most sought-after error types include off-center strikes, die cracks, filled dies, double dies, and clipped planchets. These are precisely the imperfections that transform a simple 5-cent coin into a collectible rarity, because no two error coins are exactly alike. think about how many nickels from 1986 were tossed into jars, shoved into drawers, or ended up mixed in with coins from other decades. For many people, the thought that a coin minted in the mid-1980s could be worth far more than pocket change sounds unbelievable. But collectors and coin experts understand that rarity and condition, especially in modern-era coins, can bring unexpected value. Grading plays a huge role as well. Agencies like NGC and PCGS examine coins for details that most people wouldn't notice with the naked eye. They grade on luster, strike, surface preservation, imperfections, and overall eye appeal. A 1986 Jefferson nickel that achieves a high grade, especially if it also displays full steps and no visible damage, can stand apart from thousands of others. Now picture someone sorting through an old coin collection passed down by a relative, or checking a box of coins saved decades ago, not thinking much of it. Suddenly they spot a 1986 nickel that has barely aged, showing remarkable detail as though it just left the mint. Coins like that sometimes end up being authenticated and auctioned, where serious collectors battle over their rarity. These surprise finds often come from inherited collections, estate sales, coin rolls, and long-forgotten storage boxes. Even casual collectors are now paying attention to coins from the 1980s because the window for finding mint-state examples in the wild is shrinking with every passing year. Time, circulation, and neglect have already taken their toll on the vast majority of coins minted in 1986. That means the few survivors that remain in pristine condition or feature unique errors become even more desirable. So before you toss aside that old change, it might be worth another look. The coin world has proven many times that treasure isn't always centuries old. Sometimes it was minted just a few decades ago and has been hiding in plain sight ever since. And now here comes the part most viewers stay tuned for. There have been examples of the 1986 Jefferson nickel with exceptional condition, sharp detail, and collector appeal that have sold for as much as $65,000. Today we're putting the spotlight on a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about, the Jefferson nickel from 1989. You've probably held one, spent one, or walked right past one without even realizing what it could truly be worth. But sometimes the most unsuspecting coins end up being the treasures people dream of finding. Let's rewind to the world of 1989. The Cold War was winding down, technology was stepping into a new era, and people across the United States were going about their daily lives with change jingling in their pockets. Coins like the Jefferson nickel were everywhere, used in vending machines, arcades, toll booths, school cafeterias, and payphones. They were tossed onto countertops, dropped on sidewalks, and gathered in coin jars without a second thought. The design of the 1989 nickel stayed true to the long-running look that began back in 1938. On the obverse side is the familiar left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the words "In God We Trust" positioned along the left side of his profile, and the word "Liberty" with the date placed to the right. Flip the coin over and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's legendary home, with the inscriptions "E Pluribus Unum" at the top and 5 cents and United States of America along the bottom. It's a design so common that it blends right in with the rest of your change, unless you know what makes a rare one stand out. The United States Mint produced millions of these nickels in 1989 at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia coins typically carry no mint mark from that era, while the Denver coins carry a small D. Most of these coins went straight into circulation and lived rough lives, rattling in cash registers, bouncing in pockets, and sliding through coin slots. That kind of constant use wears down the finer details, dulls the shine, and leaves behind scratches, dents, and surface blemishes. But here's where the magic of coin collecting kicks in. A tiny percentage of these nickels survived in nearly untouched condition. Maybe they were pulled from circulation early. Maybe someone saved them in rolls, coin books, or jars without ever spending them. Maybe they were part of mint sets that sat forgotten in storage. Whatever the reason, some of these coins still exist in uncirculated, high-grade condition, and those are the ones collectors chase. Collectors look for flawless surfaces, brilliant luster, strong edges, and full detail in the design. One of the biggest indicators of a standout Jefferson nickel is something called full steps. This term refers to the visibility and completeness of the steps on the front of Monticello on the reverse side of the coin. If the steps are fully struck with clean separation and no flattening, the coin becomes instantly more desirable. Most nickels never showed complete steps due to the pressure and wear of striking, so a 1989 nickel with full steps is harder to come by than people realize. Then come the mint errors and die varieties, some of the most thrilling discoveries in the coin world. When something goes wrong during the minting process, the results can range from subtle to dramatic. Double die strikes, off-center minting, clips, die cracks, filled dies, and other anomalies create coins that are unique and highly desirable. These are the kinds of coins that can lift the value of an ordinary 5-cent piece into the realm of serious money. Another factor that influences value is grading. Professional grading services like NGC and PCGS evaluate coins down to the smallest detail, checking everything from the sharpness of the design to the cleanliness of the fields, the reflectiveness of the surface, and the precision of the strike. High grades mean high interest, and high interest can mean outstanding prices at auctions and private sales. Think about how many nickels from 1989 have been lost to time, spent thousands of times, worn away, damaged, melted, or tossed aside. That means the surviving examples in exceptional condition are even scarcer today than they were back then. Sometimes people stumble across these coins in estate collections, inherited bags of change, storage boxes, or old coin folders that haven't been opened in years. One careful look can change someone's entire perspective on the value of common pocket change. Collectors appreciate the 1989 Jefferson nickel because it represents a modern-era coin with hidden rarity. It's not ancient, it's not made of silver or gold, and it's not from a century-long past, but that's exactly what makes finds like this so exciting. People don't expect a coin from the late 1980s to be worth anything more than 5 cents. But once you understand how condition, rarity, minting errors, and strike quality work together, you realize the potential sitting right in front of you. So before you dismiss those nickels hiding in your home, take another look. Check the details. Examine the steps on Monticello. Look for unusual features or near-perfect preservation. The world of coin collecting has already proven that age alone isn't what makes a coin valuable, its scarcity, quality, and the story it carries. And now, here comes the part you've been waiting for. There have been examples of the 1989 Jefferson nickel found in extraordinary condition with impressive detail and collector appeal that have sold for as much as $61,000. Today, the United States Jefferson nickel 5 cents from 1971 might look ordinary at a glance, but the truth behind its hidden value is nothing short of fascinating. Collectors around the world are searching for key varieties, rare errors, and pristine condition examples of this coin, and that has transformed what seems like a simple 5-cent piece into a serious money maker. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938 and replaced the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic home Monticello on the reverse. By 1971, the coin had already been in circulation for more than 3 decades. Millions were produced, making people assume none of them would ever become rare. But as collectors know, rarity is not always about how many were made, it's about how many survived in high grade, how many have unique minting varieties, and how many turned out with unusual characteristics that make them stand out. The 1971 Jefferson nickel was produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from Philadelphia that year do not carry a mint mark, while those from Denver feature a small d. Many people never bothered to check their nickels from the 70s, because unlike silver coins or old cents, the Jefferson nickel stayed in use without much attention. But that's exactly what makes the valuable ones so elusive today. No one saved them in pristine condition. Most were tossed in jars, circulated endlessly, and worn down before anyone realized certain examples had something special. Collectors today look closely at the sharpness of the strike, the clarity of details on Monticello, the luster of the metal, and any unusual markings that weren't part of the normal minting process. Errors and varieties are a major reason some 1971 nickels are now worth surprising amounts. Off-center strikes, double die obverse, die cracks, filled mint marks, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal can fetch large sums. Another huge factor is the condition. Coins graded in mint state, especially MS 66 and above, become dramatically more valuable. Even small differences in grade can mean the difference between a few dollars and thousands. Imagine stumbling across a shiny old nickel in a collection, coin roll, or inherited jar, and realizing it's a rare gem. That's why people today are combing through old change, bank rolls, forgotten drawers, and coin boxes. The thrill of spotting a high-value 1971 Jefferson nickel is real. On the obverse, Jefferson's portrait should show crisp hair details, a defined jawline, and smooth surfaces free of scratches. On the reverse, the word Monticello, the steps, and other architectural details need to be clear. If you can still see full steps, especially 5 or 6 clear, distinct steps at the base of the building, that instantly raises collector interest. Mint errors from 1971 nickels are particularly desirable. Some examples show doubling of the lettering, faint or missing design elements, or off-metal strikes that occurred when the wrong planchets were fed into the presses. Others come with dramatic off-center misstrikes that give them a distorted look. These are visually stunning and extremely collectible. Even minor imperfections like die chips or cuds can appeal to specialists. Combine an error with a high state of preservation, and the price will skyrocket. Don't overlook proof-like strikes or coins with deep mirror surfaces. Even though 1971 wasn't a major proof year for nickels the way other coins were, mint-set nickels and specially handled coins can show exceptional luster. If found with sharp details and minimal contact marks, they can earn top-tier grades from major grading services. Certified coins and holders from PCGS, NGC, or ANACs with high MS numbers and full steps bring in serious offers at auction. People often wonder how a 5-cent coin ends up being worth so much. Supply and demand is only part of it. Historical significance, condition rarity, and collector competition all play a role. As older collectors search for high-grade examples to complete their registry sets, they're willing to pay impressive prices. Coin auctions have recorded surprising results for Jefferson nickels across different years, especially when they feature standout characteristics. The 1971 issue is no exception. It's one of those sleeper coins that quietly build value over time without anyone expecting it. So if you've got old jars of change, or you've inherited coins from parents or grandparents, don't ignore the nickels. Take a moment to look. A dull, circulated coin may not be worth much, but an uncirculated piece with excellent details or an eye-catching mint error could be something truly special. Even bank roll hunters are getting lucky by searching through freshly wrapped nickels from banks, hoping some unsearched rolls contain older gems hiding in plain sight. Collectors especially keep watch for coins that show booming luster, strong strikes, little to no wear, and full step designations. A single high-grade example can change everything. It's become a popular theme among treasure hunters across YouTube, social media, and coin forums. Never skip the Jefferson nickels. They might not be silver, but they've proven they can carry incredible value. The beauty of this hobby is the mystery. You never know when the next extraordinary find will show up in pocket change, a flea market, an antique shop, or a coin lot purchased online. The combination of patience and curiosity has helped many people turn small coins into large returns. The 1971 Jefferson nickel is part of that story now, gaining recognition among enthusiasts and investors alike. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, yes, one of the finest known examples of the 1971 Jefferson nickel 5 cents has been valued and sold for an astounding amount. A top-grade specimen with exceptional condition and eye appeal reached a staggering $74,700.